To my left, I have a Royal Enfield. To my right, I have a Triumph. In today's video, we're going to be looking at how do these actually hold up over time. A year ago, I'm Adrian from YouMotorcycle. Hi, by the way, if you're new. Welcome back if you're not. I make videos aimed at helping motorcyclists. And a year ago, I made a video on why I don't necessarily recommend Royal Enfield motorcycles just yet. That got me a lot of flack, including death threats. It was totally crazy. But essentially, my idea is a great motorcycle isn't a motorcycle that's great brand new. Anybody can do that. A great motorcycle is a motorcycle that 5 years later, 10 years later is still great. We're gonna see whether or not either company, Royal Enfield or Triumph, have been able to achieve that. I know what you might be thinking. Adrian, the price point of the Bonneville is here and the price point of the Royal Enfield is here. So obviously there's an advantage for the Triumph. Fair enough, that's really true. So we're looking at a about 10-year-old Royal Enfield versus a 20-year-old Triumph. Just to further stack the deck in favor of the Royal Enfield, the Enfield was stored in a heated garage the whole time. This thing was stored in just a normal garage the whole time. And lastly, the Royal Enfield has only about 7,000 kilometers. This one has 38 or 39,000 kilometers. So with 5 times more miles and 10 more years, the Triumph should definitely be in worse shape than the Royal Enfield. But is that actually the case? Let's find out. If we come up close to the headlight here, the chrome, it needs a little buff. It's not super good. I haven't tried cleaning it, but it looks to me like this will clean up okay. I'm pretty happy with the chrome. So for comparison, here's the chrome on the Bonneville, that's okay. You'll notice on the Bonneville, the headlight here, it looks like over time, this is where the kilometers have really started to add up and you can see the mileage. It's created some pitting here, a little bit of rust around there. This headlight here is definitely in much better shape. And on that note, check out the quality of the chrome on the rims. On the Bonneville, they are still perfect. These spokes are not even pitted at all. It's absolutely nuts. There's no pitting on these spokes whatsoever. There's no pitting at the bottom here. The Bonneville's chrome, the chrome on the Triumph is still in fantastic shape. The axle nut, still in fantastic shape, even though I was reefing on it the other day. Overall, the front chrome for the headlights, probably about the same, maybe a slight advantage to the Royal Enfield just because it has less miles on it. But my goodness, we really can't say the same for the Royal Enfield. There's a lot of rust on these rims. And these are painted rims, you don't even have chrome. There's just a lot of little rusty bits along the top of the spokes. There's a lot of rusty bits. And again, 5 times the miles on the Triumph, 10 extra years on the Triumph, the spokes are in better shape front and back. Now let's see what kind of condition the motor casing is in. Well, there's, rusty bolts everywhere. I know it was never chromed, but it's looking kind of pitted. It's not looking so fresh at all. And you can see where there's like a lot of weeping going on, even like in between the air fins there. And it's not bad, it's surface rust, but it's starting. And this is only 10 years. Let's see how the Triumph's doing. Keep in mind this chrome has not been shined, but that's a noticeable difference right off the bat. It doesn't have the pitting. It does have a big scratch line if you're wondering what that is. It's been dropped. I do notice on the Triumph, if you look right in there, there is some bubbling of the paint. So definitely need to point that out. There does have some paint on there, and that's from just splash from the front wheel hitting on there and no one cleaned it. That's what causes that. If the owner cleaned it, maybe that wouldn't be there. Gaskets look totally perfect. There's no signs of leak. There is a little bit underneath, down around there, a little bit signs of leak, and that's because this is carbureted versus the Enfield is injected, because again, this is a 20-year-old Triumph. It does have a little bit of signs that there was gas leak at some point. Right now, everything is dry though. Have a look at the other side of the Enfield. Signs of weepage, rusty hardware, finish that's pitting. Now have a look at the Triumph. Hardware is clean. Chrome, no pitting. Overall, the motor is in way better shape. If you guys are wondering what's going on with the paint job on my Bonneville, it was rattle can painted. I stripped it down to expose the metal, then I clear coated and sealed it. My next video will be showing you guys how I did it to get this like pure metallic look. I really like this. I really like the gloss on it. I really like the exposed metal. It has just a little bit of the original paint. Sorry, not the original paint, the previous owner's rattle can paint job. I wanted to kind of keep that in there, part of the bike's history. Next video, hit subscribe. I'll show you how to make your tank look like this. And I also obviously did it on the front fender and naturally on the rear fender too. And maybe that's a great segue to talking about, so I can't compare the actual paint obviously, but I can tell you about what's going on with the frame. Check out, look where the VIN's stamped in, it's all rusty, and look at like the welds that are just kind of And again, on the Enfield, the frame itself is fine, but then like the parts attached to the frame, they're all rusty. This is, the bubbling here is just a sticker coming off. But there's no like ugly welds. This is clean, right? Because it's just all one piece, and then boom, there's your welds. Super clean on the frame. No rust on the frame whatsoever. Going back here, more super clean welds. No rust on the frame. This looks fantastic. Obviously, we can't compare exhaust pipes because we don't have the original exhaust pipe on the Triumph. But let me just show you how the exhaust pipe looks after 7,000 kilometers. See this discoloration? What's up with that? Yeah, that's the original OEM exhaust, and that's how it looks after just 7,000 kilometers. Not great. And you get all these different kinds of different sort of cheap metals that are in different finishes on the Enfield that you don't get on the Bonneville. But little stuff like that where I see things that, oh, I got one more thing. This looks like someone took that Permatex like make your own gasket sealer and put it in here. All of the other gaskets look like the motor's never been opened, but for some reason this one just looks like a freaking mess. This looks like the first time when I was like 22 years old that I tried to do caulking myself for like my bathroom, my bathtub, and it was just a disaster. I don't know if this is like that from factory or if someone has had to be in here. And in either case, I think both are pretty not great because, you know, if this is like this from factory, that looks absolutely terrible. That looks so bad. The finish quality is just completely lacking. There's nothing like that on the Triumph. And if it's not like that from factory and someone had to be in here, why did someone need to open up the motor in the first 7,000 clicks down there? I don't understand. Again, look at all the rusty hardware and stuff. Gross. So super quick recap, climate controlled garage, no climate control, 5 times less miles, 5 times more miles, and 10 years younger, 10 years older, and yet still the Triumph finish, night and day difference, does not have the rust or anything going on quite like how much is happening on the Enfield. You spend a couple extra thousand, that's what you get. For some people, it might make sense to spend a couple thousand less, get the cheaper bike. I want you guys to just know what it is your bikes are going to be looking like 10 years later versus if you spent about the same money that you would on a brand new Royal Enfield buying a used Triumph, what your used Triumph is going to look like even 20 years later. That's the difference. If you want to see how I made this Triumph look cool with the exposed metal, hit subscribe. That'll be my next video. If you like this one, please hit the like button. And I know that this is a very small sample size. I randomly got one Triumph and one Royal Enfield. There are millions and billions. I get it. I know the history of both bikes. I know where they've been for most of their lives. 20-year owner for this one, 10-year owner for this one. I know their bikes' histories. I know where they've been stored. They should not look this different, especially not with the mileage difference and the 10-year difference. That's what people say when we say you get what you pay for with Royal Enfield. Now you know. Leave me an angry comment. That's cool. If you liked it, leave me a happy comment. That would be much appreciated because I'm sure I'll get a bunch of angry ones. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. Ride safe. Peace. Bye-bye.